What is going on, guys? It's Suk and I am back with a brand new video on Super Duper Tech, and in today's video I'll be showing you guys what the performance is like on the 2017 4K iMac when gaming. So without any further ado, let's hit the titles. Now the first thing that I do want to mention is I am running all of these games natively off macOS, and I'm not using Boot Camp to run it off Windows. Now of course, if you guys are going to play these games on Windows, then you can expect some marginal improvements. So anyways, the first game that I played with this iMac was Mafia 3. Now for some reason I couldn't get the FPS counter to run, but as you guys are about to see, even when playing at a resolution of 2048 by 1152, I was still getting quite a good performance out of the machine. Now I wouldn't go as far as to saying that it was silky smooth, because it was quite far from that, but playable it was most certainly that. Now I did do a little bit of frame rounding, and I did find out that I was getting approximately 34 frames per second at, once again, 2048 by 1152. Now once again, playing Mafia 3, I decreased the resolution down to full HD, being 1920 by 1080, and kept all of the existing settings the exact same as I did previously. Now I'm not sure how well it's going to come off on screen, but I did find that this was a lot more playable and it was definitely a lot more smooth. And once again, going through the footage and rounding it up frame by frame, I did find that I averaged around 42 frames per second when playing at full HD. So the next thing that I did was play a number of different games at 4K resolutions, the first being CSGO, and as you guys can see from the graph, I was averaging approximately 44 frames per second with a maximum of around 50 and a minimum of 38. Now while these numbers may not be overly shocking for you, you've got to remember that at the end of the day, this is all running natively off macOS through Steam. Now as I'm sure you guys are aware that when playing at these high resolution, the detail that is displayed on screen is quite nice. And when you pair that with a decent amount of frames per second, the overall experience will be very detailed and crisp, as well as being nice and smooth. Another game that I played at 4K resolution on this iMac was Firewatch. Now this is completely opposite to what you saw when playing CSGO, as the experience was utterly terrible. As you guys will soon see, the gameplay was absolutely terrible. It wasn't smooth, but it was quite crisp, I will give it that. And I was averaging at around 7 frames per second with a maximum of 9 and a minimum of around 4. Now when your character's not moving around in game, there is quite a lot of detail that you do see on screen, but the second that some movement and motion is introduced into the gameplay, you just see the overall lag that comes from it is just absolutely horrible, and you will not want to play this game on this iMac. Now I did throw it back with an old school game, and I did play Call of Duty 4 once again at 4K resolution. Now as I'm sure you guys are aware that due to the age of this game, that of course it would perform very well on this iMac. And as you guys can see, I was averaging around 66 frames per second with a maximum of 80 and a minimum of 43. Now of course there are a number of different games that you can play on the iMac, but these are of course limited due to the fact that most developers either do not develop for macOS or don't port their game over. Now of course, while playing at 4K with any game, it will of course be very demanding on the GPU. But the thing is, Apple have never said that any of their Macs are specifically targeted towards gaming, and we all know that they are more oriented towards productivity tasks. So naturally I then decreased the resolution down to 1440p, and as you guys can see from the bar chart, all of the results that I got when testing at 4K did improve. Now looking at the performance of Firewatch, I of course then decided to decrease the resolution even more to see if I could increase the average frames per second. And by decrease I of course mean dropping it all the way down to 720p. And while playing Firewatch at 720p, I got an average FPS of around 47 frames per second with a maximum of 54 and a minimum of 42. And as you guys can see, the gameplay is a lot smooth when compared to what you saw when I was gaming at 4K. So what do I want you guys to take away from this? Now, gaming on an iMac is very much possible, and what you have to remember is that this is when gaming using Mac OS. If you was to game on an iMac and you was to preload Windows onto it, then of course your experience will be considerably better. And at the end of the day, this was just a video to show you guys that you can game on a Mac. Of course, your experience will be different depending on what you do and what games you play. And if you guys do want to see what it's like to game on the 5K 27-inch iMac, then of course hit that subscribe button, and later on in the year I will of course be uploading videos with the new iMac Pro. And even when that iMac Pro comes out, I still guarantee that there are going to be hundreds of people that are still going to stick by Windows and say that you cannot game on a Mac. But of course I do want to show you guys that you can. So then guys, that has been it for today's video. I do hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you smack that like button, and if you are new around here, then why not subscribe? If you have got any questions as to what you've seen in today's video, then be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. And if you do want to see what video I am working on next, then be sure to add me and follow me on my social media. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.